So we'll start with Delhi. And if the representatives from our partner organizations would like to come up and join the students on stage, we'd welcome that if you feel confident coming up here. I think that we have a mic. There's a mic there. Clarabelle's got a mic. So what we're going to ask is that if you have a question, just raise your hand and the student will call on you and then we'll bring you a mic. We are trying to record tonight's conversation, so please do use the mic. So I'm going to hand it over to Delhi. And one thing, who's my timekeeper? Adam, will you be my timekeeper? Okay, so 10 minutes. We'll give you a signal.
Hi. I'm Delhi, and I made the show Georgia. I was the first one that you saw of the night. I have questions if you guys don't have any questions for me, but I want to ask if you have any questions. Natalie!
So my question is about the content of your play. I'm just curious what led you to write that particular story about a young person struggling with gender identity. What particularly led you to write about that?
I guess when I was picking my topic, I wanted to do it in the GLBT area. And at first I had a gay couple, a lesbian couple, interracial, going through struggles and only relying on each other. But then I decided to switch it to a transgender teen because I feel like out of all of the GLB communities, like the transgender community is swept under the rug and their issues are swept under the rug and they're not talked about at all. So I really wanted to bring an issue and bring a story on stage. Bianca?
I don't need a mic.
Bianca, we want you to use the mic. Okay. And I would love for the Community Advocate Coalition partners to say hello too.
Oh,
Can you pass this
okay.
Takes the village.
Yes. My question is, what inspires you to have so much dance and movement in your piece, along with the monologue?
Well, that was a really conscious decision. I decided not to use a lot of words because I really wanted people to be able to relate with this teen on a really basic human level. And I feel like the way to do that is to invoke empathy. Instead of throwing facts at you, I just really wanted you to be able to understand what they're going through and their emotions and really just humanize them.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I'm going to have my people talk.
Hi, everybody. My name is Katrina Platz. I'm a Safe Schools community organizer with Outfront Minnesota. And I had the pleasure of working with Delhi this summer in her internship. So I'll just pass it down to these folks here.
Michelle Dibley, and I'm the organizing director at Outfront.
Nick Kaur, I'm also a community organizer at Outfront, and I had the great pleasure of working with Delhi as well.
I am very curious about how you found the music, where you got it from, and how you connected it with your story.
Okay, so I guess I really wanted to have Negro spirituals in the beginning, but then I decided to really connect it with a history of oppression. So these were prison recordings from the 1930s. And some of them were remakes of prison recordings, but they were prison recordings because I really felt like if I could connect the oppression of black people even after slavery, even though the songs dated back to slavery, people could relate better to the oppression of the transgender community. there a mic? Lauren?
First of all, Deli, excellent job. It was great to see everything come to life today. Kind of continuing off of what Bianca was asking about the movement in the piece, I was curious as to the relationship between the two dancers. And from my perspective, I saw it kind of shifting depending on which moment during the piece they were dancing. But if you could speak to that, and perhaps also your relationship working with your choreographer.
Okay. Well, I've known the female since 3rd grade, and then I've known the other actor just for the past few months. And the relationship between them on stage was, it shifted for each scene. Like in one scene, he was a family member who shunned her, and then she was a school bully, and then she was a person on the bus, and then she was eventually a pimp, and then a trick. And like and each dance was up to your interpretation. She really just was playing the person who killed her, because I really wanted to make the point that even though at the end a trick killed her, it wasn't just the trick that killed her, it was everybody, the family member who shunned her, the person who bullied her, the person who spat on her at the bus. It was everybody who led to her death. Oh, and my relationship with the choreographer. I had the choreographer as a dance teacher last year, and so I called her up and she helped me a lot. Yes.
Thank you. I was just curious what kind of research you did or interviews you did to create this character, if it was based on one individual or a composite, or how that worked.
She was based off of a lot of research. I have been on so many websites, and she was basically created off of statistics and learning about how many transgender people go into the sex trade and how many sex crimes are for male to female trans of color. And I read a book, it's kind of soap opera-y, it's called Trans Sister Radio. And and even though it was a really, really easy read, it really got me in the head of a male to female trans person, even though they were white. So it's just one story that I came up with off of all the statistics.
Hey, I was wondering if you could say more about why you chose the images that you chose.
The images as in the pictures, or the images as in like the dance?
Yeah, like the like motel scenes and the bus, and then like full bus, empty bus. Like, what was the significance there?
Well, I really just didn't want to show one school and like have you think that there was a school there, like that was the school that they were at. I just really wanted you to get the atmosphere of school and the atmosphere of bus and the atmosphere of a home. And I guess I made conscious decisions on like how big the house was and how nice the bedroom was. But other than that, it was just to give you placement.
So, Deli, I know we've got a lot more people who would like to talk with you. We have 2 more minutes for this particular piece, and I was wondering if anybody from out front Minnesota, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you wanted to share your feedback or about some of the statistics that Deli was talking about, given the work that you do. Briefly, Deli, you want to share the mic?
Sure. Well, I'll just start out by saying our mission at Out Front is to make Minnesota a state where LGBT people are free to be who we are and love who we love and live without fear of violence or harassment or discrimination. So we do this work in various ways through various programs. We've had some significant victories over the last, most recent year plus with winning the Freedom Survey. But we know that our work certainly isn't over by any means. We're still working on getting safe schools legislation passed so that all students, no matter who they are, can go to school in a safe and supportive environment and have strong policies and procedures in place to protect them from bullying or harassment. We know that gender identity is something that is often a characteristic that makes students and people more vulnerable to experiencing harassment and discrimination. So that's something that we're working to change through legislation and community outreach and education and organizing to build power for people and with people who have been oppressed because of their orientation or their gender identity. So do you guys want to add anything?
So that was a fantastic description of our organizing work. I'll just add that, Delia, that was amazing and phenomenal. It's been such a treat to have you with us this summer. And in addition to the organizing work that Out Front does, we also have an anti-violence program that works more with individuals who have need of resources or support or access to a place where they can come and ask questions and have one-on-one conversations and support over the long haul so that people can be part of an organizing community if that's a place that they are in their lives and if they're not in a place yet where they're empowered enough and holding on to their own identity in a way that they can help themselves in that kind of community. We've got supports in other ways as well.
Thank you. We can take one more question or comment from the audience. Deli, your choice.
Oh, my mother.
She's a smart girl. I'm just amazed that all of that came out of that head. I'm just amazed. But my question was, I was interested in, to me this is so about your generation, that whole mixed media with the slides, the music, and you laid on top of the track the street sounds. And so could you talk about why you used the music and the street sounds?
It was really, again, to show placement, and I know there's a difference between morning street sounds and then night street sounds and then really like Times Square street sounds versus like Duluth, Minnesota street sounds. And so I really wanted like a common, relatable neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And so that's really, like, if you heard that, you could think Selby and Dale right over there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deli. Okay, so Alex has the floor. Are there any comments or questions for Alex?
I was really intrigued by your piece, especially the juxtaposition piece. But why did you particularly pick the cultural genocide of the Aboriginal groups in Australia versus in North America, and what kind of led to those kinds of decisions? Because I see so many parallels.
Well, it was really a question of what I knew about. So when I was like 14, my school said you have to do an international project on like some historical thing. And I was like, oh, this means I can't do anything about black people. So I found out about what had happened in Australia, and what really popped out to me was that it went on until 1970. And it was this crazy, archaic thing that just dragged on and on, kind of like apartheid, you know? And we just, in the US, we're like in La La Land, doing like disco or whatever we were doing in the 70s. And so it just struck me as particularly ridiculous that it was something I had not learned about in school. But I was really afraid about cultural appropriation because I'm black, I'm not Aboriginal, I'm not Indigenous. And so because I had that background research, I just stuck with that because I said I have a limited amount of time. I want to do the least amount of I want to do the most culturally specific research I can. So that was just what I had a background in.
Alex, could you please tell everybody who you interned with?
Oh, I interned with World Without Genocide, which is an organization they are located at William Mitchell College of Law, and they're awesome. And their summer institute is going on right now, so they couldn't be here. But they're cool.
Okay, so my question is, so you were the only person in the show, which was really cool, and was there anything difficult about that, and how did you kind of learn how to put the layers on it when you were the only actor?
Well, it was hard first and foremost because I'm not really primarily an actress. I'm primarily a brain in a body. I'm primarily a person who produces words, I guess. So I wasn't because of the nature of the program, I wanted to be working within myself and not essentially deal with other people. And also it was just getting actors was very hard logistically. So I said I want to focus on other things. And I also really enjoy acting. So, yeah, it wasn't that hard. It was emotionally difficult and it was logistically difficult to be doing a lot of different things, but I wouldn't have done it any other way. So.
Hi. First, I just want to notice that across all three pieces, there's some real similarities, and that's really striking. I know we're only talking one by one, but you're all really grappling with what it means for young women in particular to be put in situations, or female-identified women to be put into situations of struggle with power and sexuality, and it's really striking to see all three pieces back to back. But I actually wanted to ask you about this passage where you cited the Bible, and I thought that was a really, really powerful moment because you just introduced us to a contradiction, and without belaboring it, this sense of here are these missionaries, and in the very text that underlies kind of the values of a certain kind of religious practice, there are buried within that this assumption that human beings can be property. And I've never heard that passage before, and I'm curious how you found that and how you wove it into the script.
So I Googled Bible passages about slavery. Because I see this, it's by no means me hating on the Bible. It's me hating on the ways in which we just generally misconstrue religious texts to our advantage, a means of oppressing other people. We all know that's not the Bible's message. I think we all know the Bible doesn't intend for us to enslave people. But if you really want to enslave people, you can use a religious text to do it, And so, it occurred to me that, and this is an instance where it was a little bit of a stretch. It occurred to me, well, I know they're having religion classes 7 days a week because I read it in this woman's recounting of her time at Kumandra, and I know that there were missionaries teaching them essentially how to be white. So I said, well, they must have read this Bible passage, because how could they not have? Which is perhaps me taking liberty as a writer, but I just thought it's so there. It seemed like it. I don't know. It just seemed like it needed to be there because it seemed like it needed to be a passage that was present because I just felt like it was glaring at me. So.
Got about 4 minutes left. We got a question down here. Cool.
Hi, I was just wondering what message you were trying to leave the audience at the end of your whole deal thing.
So that was the hardest part. Originally, I couldn't help but wonder when I first learned about the genocide of Aboriginal Australians and also the genocide of American Indians here. Why don't we learn about this in school? And then we also learn about other kinds of oppressions. Like, how can we, know that people starve under some circumstances and think that's so horrible, and then when people starve under other circumstances, we don't react that way. Or when people experience oppression, depending on which oppression it is, we care more or less. And so the message I was trying to get across was twofold. First, I wanted you guys to hear Sophia's voice, because it's important that I share something that I think share something as authentic as possible about a real experience within this genocide. And then second, I wanted to make you all aware that this was all going on at the same time as World War II, and as very much removed from World War II, and that we essentially only know about some of the killings that went on during that time, because there were people who were, and my character wasn't she wasn't in danger of dying during hard slave labor, because the women were trained to be domestics, but a lot of the men would die doing hard slave labor. A lot of the women would be raped and killed, and so I wanted to bring attention to why do we think that killings are important, more or less, depending on where they happen in the globe.
All right, we got time for one more question or comment. Alex's choice.
My mother.
Oh, mothers are winning tonight.
Get ready, Mom. Final question.
I know, it's a theme. The mother gets the last question. So my first question was, I have two, sort of. You're thinking around kind of having as your background piece a genocide we should know a lot about, and one that we don't know very much about. And then I noticed in the description of your piece, your character has one name, or the title of the piece is Sonia, but her name in the description, Sophia, is Hanya. So if you could talk about the name thing.
I juxtaposed the genocides because I wanted us to think about which oppressions we care about. And every year there's a parallel between my piece and Deli's piece. Kind of like, if you guys were there for that. Just kind of like how Deli said, we all, go out for gay marriage and knock on doors and then don't care about trans people of color getting disproportionately murdered. We all learn about the Holocaust in U.S. history, and then, which, is the Holocaust U.S. history? I mean, yes, because we're allied and stuff. Yes, it is. Well, it wasn't happening in the U.S.
Yes, but
Okay. But we didn't help very much. Okay. We didn't do a great job on that front, but that's on FDR. But and then we don't learn about other genocides that occurred, and part of it's about what we have acknowledged. I think the U.S. government isn't really sorry yet about the genocide against Native Americans. We haven't. I think there are Congress people who still don't really want to rebuild the broken roads on reservations. It's a different story. But I just wanted to make sure that we realize that genocide is genocide, and they're all worth our attention. And then the name change was just that I wanted her to have an Aboriginal name, so I spent an exorbitant amount of time on Google trying to find an Aboriginal name, because there's no information on Google about that. And so I searched and searched and searched for one that was specific to her tribe, which is Wiradjuri, and I couldn't find one, so I found like a generic Aboriginal name, and I was like, fine. And then I realized that the language of the Wiradjuri people was dead by 1940, and so I couldn't have, and that nobody had Aboriginal names by then, so I just had to get rid of it. So her name's no longer Hanya, it's Sophia.
Thank you, Alex. So, Alex, if you want to shoot the microphone down to Madi. We have 10 minutes for Madi and eager folks all over the place who have comments and questions. So I'll let you choose who you'd like to hear from first.
You there, girl, in the middle, named Chanel.
Here.
Hi, Bicho. First of all, phenomenal job. Just random comment that I wanted to throw out there. You made me feel bad for that sidewalk. Like, I was really feeling for that sidewalk. No, but I actually do have a question. Why did you pick these two people's stories? Because you based them off of like conversations that you had with people, right? Or just like took it from there. I'm sure you had like a bunch of conversations with a lot of people that kind of stood out. Why exactly did you pick these two stories?
Actually, it was kind of a long process. A lot of what was talked about in our conversations was prostitution, actually. So I was like, okay, duh, we're doing a show about prostitution here, let's go. But then we started having conversations about personal experiences and people's lives. And this is all in the girls group at my internship. And so what ended up happening is I kind of connected these two women, Jasmine and Sabrina, to loosely to two of the girls in the program, as well as people in their lives, and one of the workshops that we did on domestic violence. So yeah, it got more connected to the people that I dealt with as opposed to the conversations that we talked about. But yeah. Yes, madam, in the back.
Hi, Madi.
Hi.
I'm very
Okay, I'm sorry. Next time it won't be someone I know.
Microphone.
I first want to say I love the honesty and the purity of the characters. They were beautiful, and your poetry inside of the dialogue as well. And I want you to tell us why you think this play is important. Why did you write it? And why is this story important? Why does it need to be told?
Yeah, well, my original mission was voice for the voiceless. And that came from, again, working with the girls. And I also wanted to make an artistic choice that was different from everybody else's. How many people in this room have talked to the sidewalk? Right? Okay. But the sidewalk is this thing that we walk on and pass every single day, so obviously it's seen something. And I feel like the stories that we've heard like that are the walls in the room. The walls have ears, stuff like that, right? But what about what happens on the outside? And so I think it's important because, one, I wanted these girls' stories heard. I wanted the voice of the voiceless to be heard. Yeah. And I wanted to introduce a character that not many people recognize as a character. I don't know that I just answered your question. It's important because, yeah, because it's different from what people are used to, I think. I hope.
I'm going to jump in for just 2 seconds. I do want to just say that Madi was gracious enough to perform tonight, even though we had another student slated for this evening. So 180 Degrees, the organization for whom she interned, does have a table out here with more information. But the folks that Madi worked specifically with, Nikki and team, will be here on Saturday. So she's going to perform again on Saturday.
On Friday, tomorrow.
I'm sorry, tomorrow, sorry. And so if you want any information from 180 Degrees, they're out there. So you want to let me know who I'm going to next? Right here? Where do you want to go, Madi?
I'm sorry, right here. I'll go there next. Where am I? Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh,
The one with the microphone. What up?
I thought somebody over there. My apologies. First of all, fabulous, fantastic job. And yes, I am a little biased. I am from 180 Degrees, and I represent the guys group. And so we brought some of our young men here tonight, and wanted to support you in what you brought to the table. And girl, you did your thing. I just want, and all three of you showed out tonight, and so I was very impressed. I just wanted you to know that you opened some eyes tonight, and I hope that you don't stop there, because the story you told tonight was real and brought the emotion out, and I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciated your story. Thank you.
Yeah, you. I'm sorry if that's rude, y'all. Just a boy in the blue shirt.
Why did you pick sidewalk? I know that like it's something that we see every day, but I mean, I live by a park bench or a swing or maybe a tree or a house that's been around for a long time. Like, why specifically sidewalk? Why not maybe a nice park bench that everybody sits on?
Because I didn't want to be talking about booties everywhere. No, that's a legit question. I feel like, I'm sorry. I feel like my choice in the sidewalk kind of came from my being in high school at Central with Jan Mandel as my acting teacher. We wrote, and if you couldn't tell this, all of this stemmed from an I am poem, I am XYZ. And I actually wrote a poem in high school and wanted to be the sidewalk. I don't know why, I'm just weird. I'm just like, I am the sidewalk, I'm hard, and I'm awesome, and whatever. And it was like, I didn't really go anywhere with it. So getting the opportunity to have the Penumbra stage for 25, 30 minutes, I wanted to see if I could challenge myself a little bit, see if I can develop something that I'd already tried to create.
Got some time here. Couple more comments or questions.
Over here.
Word. I thought it was brilliant. I would like to know who inspires you, as far as either like spoken word artists, performers, or writers in general. You know, where do you get your inspiration from?
I think inspiration-wise, it's come from just my whole entire life experience. I have been so blessed in that I've been able to have all of these amazing people in my life. First of all, I'm at Penumbra Theater. Like, whoa, that is awesome. I went to Central High School that has an amazing traveling theater program. Jan Mandel, Crystal. Just like in terms of local artists, I had the pleasure of meeting and spending time with Toki Wright, a local hip hop artist in Minneapolis area. And then like in terms of just stuff that I like Brother Ali type people. So yeah, just I guess in terms of inspiration, the people that I can name off, or that would kind of be where it is, but definitely just the experiences that I've had in my life. And I know I am leaving people out because my brain's not that big when I'm like that, but yeah, life experience.
And we got time for one more comment or question. Madi's choice.
Go ahead, Mom.
All right, mothers win. Time and time again.
Hello. Mine is not a question, rather a comment, and I wanted to congratulate you, Miss Madi, for giving 100% and showing all the courage that you did on the stage tonight. And I also wanted to thank the places like St. Paul Central Black Box and Jan Mandel and Penumbra Theater and people like Sarah Bellamy for creating these spaces and opportunities for young people to come and explore who they are and create the next artist activists of the world. So thank you all very much.
Kind of potentially the end of the road for you as students at Penumbra. At least as students in the program, you can intern, of course, if you want to. I see the faces. So what I would What I would really like you to do is share with the audience briefly, what has this journey over 3 years, 4 years, Madi, I don't know how many years you've been here. 4. 4, been like, and what would you say to some of the second year and first year students that we have in the audience tonight about all of the hard work that you did and where you are now?
Okay, I can start because I have a microphone in my lap. I'd say, well, I've been doing it for 3 years. I know I'm like a classic third year, but like my first year, I learned a lot about ensemble and I learned about joining with people, and I definitely got pushed way out of my comfort zone and I learned so much. And then your second year, they push you even further, like your comfort zone's here and then you're like over there. And then you have to like go on stage and you have to really put yourself into it. But your third year, you have to come up with a story that's not exactly related to you, which is really like comfort zone, where you were last year, ocean, you know? And even though it was crazy hard and I was like stressing and couldn't sleep and eat for a little while, it's an amazing journey. And all of you first years, I don't know if there are first years, I see first years. And you should come, I mean, you should go through the entire thing, like go through, and you will love yourself for it and you learn so much more for it. And I don't want to leave Penumbra, even though, because like I'm only going to be a sophomore in high school, so like you have to be going into like your junior year or something to get in college, to become an intern, so I don't know what I'm going to do for like the next 5 summers or whatever. I don't know. Who wants to talk?
You're a sophomore in high school?
So if you're like over there or up there or any kind of Penumbra student, you should come back. That's the most important thing. And I guess my first year I was just like really frustrated because I was like 14 and and I was like, oh my God, I'm black. And so my mom was like, I gotta send you somewhere. People were like, and people like when I was in 8th grade, like people thought it was okay to call me Poof because of my hair, and I was like real mad. And so my mom sent me a Penumbra, and nobody called me Poof, and I was like, yay, family. And we had Art with Intent, which was like revolutionary because it was cerebellum-y. And every day in Art with Intent, we had to like watch things and write things. So some people were like cranky, but I was like, oh my God. And I don't know, I felt like I was like, oh, this is so much bigger than me. Like, how could I, fit in at a place that's like has so much history and all these great actors and all these great people, and I felt like super small. And then Penumbra gave me a fellowship, and I was like, maybe I'm not super small. And I came back, and then I came back another year, and then I came back this year, and there was like Tanya somewhere in the middle of that, and Tanya is like our I don't even know.
She's our love. She's our boot camp instructor is what she is.
And Tanya like taught me how to be a human and and like how to like have emotions and stuff. And then I guess my third year, or this year, my 4th year, was about learning to kind of get outside of myself and think about what does it mean to take like frustration and personal experiences and depression and make it into a message and a forward moving thing. So I guess come back, learn to love yourself and make forward moving things.
Yeah, so, I mean, I know you're coming back. It's not something that needs to be said, I don't think, any more than it already has. My experience has been crazy, definitely. I remember my first and second year, which was kind of like 2 first years, were very different. My first year I joined with one of my friends and I'm like, yay, theater camp. No. Like, change the world camp, really. Yeah. And so it gets, I don't know if it gets better, it gets different. You start out, you put on a show. I remember my first year, Sarah Bellamy was our performance element instructor, so she was putting the show together. And I remember like 2 days, maybe it was 3 days, maybe I'm embellishing. It was like 3 days before the show, and it wasn't all in a sequence. I'm like, what? We are not gonna have a show. And I was trying to tell myself, this isn't my job right now. I'm supposed to get up on stage and do what I was doing in classes. And that's what you get this third year. You get to write your vision. You get to mold it into what it is gonna be. You get to direct it with Lou Bellamy. Lou Bellamy. You heard that? Bellamy. He's awesome. Like the Lou Bellamy. Yeah, you get to direct it, and you get to, if you so wish, perform it. So you get to be all these different people. Your resources explode. I have makeup artist right here. That's not a real bruise, by the way. A makeup artist, like, what? That didn't happen my first or second year. Sound, all that stuff. Like it just, you get. You earn. It's clear that you earn your time here, and they give you the number stage, and they give you all that you'll need to put on a show that you can be proud of. So.
I would like to congratulate you three for being the first up here. We have 2 more evenings of performances. I hope you'll come back. We've got more shows, more voices, more stories, more advocacy partners. It really does take a village to do this work, and we are so proud of this next generation, and congratulations, well done. They will be out in the lobby if you didn't get a chance to ask your questions so that you can have a chat with them. Please take some time to fill out those surveys. They're very important, and if you have a lot more space than just the back of the survey, you can email us, and that's a good way to get in touch too. So thank you so much. Let's hear it one more time.
I got somewhere to be. The weight of the human race and all the baggage you carry with you. I witness your beauty. And I'm there for when your faults play out on my boulevard. But with the gift of never having life, I possess the burden of watching it disintegrate. I was in love once with 2 women, 2 beautiful women. The first was Jasmine. She'd take my path almost every day. A nice break from the typical men and women that would limp over me with the heavy pants that enforce gravity. And the shoes. Those shoes with the tiny teeth on the bottom that leave an imprint indented on my forehead. But Jasmine, she'd walk with such purpose and precision, from one corner of my palm to the other, leaping swiftly over the Tar River to continue on her journey. I'd whisper to her, "Come lay with me, beautiful woman." She'd just hold a tiny speaker to her ear and talk to it as if it could talk back. I'd pretend she was talking to me.
I haven't heard from you in a while. Where you been at?
Here, waiting for you.
Nah, I ain't talking to nobody. Not seriously, anyway. Why, are you trying to fill a position?
Well, my heart belongs only to you.
Oh, yeah? I've been missing you, too.
I smiled curb to curb.
Uh-huh, I know. Yeah. I still love you.
And I love you. After a while, her confident step turned into a somber glide that was anything but graceful. Her body wrappings grew loose and baggy. And while her frame's shape stayed the same, her
Her weight grew heavier. Her baggage grew heavier. And I remember one of those times there was a bundle of hard white cloth, dried cloth, that appeared around her left arm. She didn't move it much, she just held it in place, like this. And she kept her head bowed toward me. And I saw the puffiness around her right eye pooled in darkness. And I thought about all those talks she had with that tiny speaker. She'd say things like, "Baby, please, I'm not trying to disrespect you." "Of course not. No one. There ain't no one but you." And she cried. A single salty release right into my hand. "Come lay with me. I'll hold you. I'll protect you." I grabbed at her feet and held on tight. She fell into my arms. What am I doing here? I'm a woman. Jasmine Denise King, a strong, confident woman. Or I was. Now I'm just so unsure about so much, about everything. I'm my past, making the same mistakes over and over again. I'm dependent. I'm scared. I am the black eye, swollen up so that I can barely see out of it. And the burning tears that blur my vision until they fall to the ground and dissolve in the lifeless cement. Come lay with me. I don't know what it is in me that makes him so mad, or what it is in him. I can feel myself shriveling up and becoming the fist he balls up and throws at me. The folded fingers that once intertwined with mine now so compact in their grip. I am the wrath in his swing. The detrimental thing that makes babies cry and tears families up, and I'm just never enough, but I try. I am the welts that I wear. The blisters that bubble up and the skin that tears from him forcing me to, and I don't want to, I don't. No. I am the crumpled up shell of the woman I once was, now just a pile of parts and broken pieces on his bedroom floor. And I'm the bruises that show up so clearly beneath my comfy clothes. The imprint of love that my high school girlfriends wear so proudly because it came from his lips. But this right here came from his fist. You see, I used to think I was a woman worth being. Maybe I was. But I am a long ways away from being that person. I told her I'd hold her forever if she'd let me. But I'd take care of her. I told her to let go of that body that bruises so easy and hurts so well. But she just pushed her hand up against my face and lifted her body from my grasp with her wobbly arms. She walked away from me.
The other woman was Sabrina. If you saw her, you'd probably think that she wouldn't be the type to love me back. Well, that's what I thought. But then she started with the gifts, dropping petals as tokens of love as she passed. Sabrina kept our affair to herself, though. We never spoke. But I knew, in my every crevice, every crack and rock that made my block, I knew she loved me. And in the daytime, she'd move with such a gentle, careful stride, like a dancer. But in the nighttime, she was angry with me. She'd stumble across my back and stomp all over my arms. And when random people would pass her or just bump into her, she spoke. Who do you think you are? Shit, I am. I'm a woman. A beautiful woman. I'm gorgeous. I'm fun-loving and loud and spunky. Fun. I'm this bottle that I hold and drop. 16 years old, unscrew the top and let the party begin. Happily killing my sorrows in gin and let the E&J spray all my problems away. I'm a poet. and I'm young. I love to be drunk. I'm all about the taste and the feeling. I love kinky, but Bacardi be having me swimming. Swimming. Anyway, I'm Svedka. I'm ice. I've been Jack Daniels before, but absolutely, I'm a vodka girl. Oh. I like to see through my bottles and onto the mistakes I'll be making later, if you know what I mean. Oh, and I'm smearing up. I'm a parent to my siblings and a homegirl to my mother. The men she just be letting crawl up inside her, make me want to stay at my grandma's house and stay with my cousins and stay with my auntie instead of just visiting while my mom's off with something better to do. I'm fine. All right? I will be the life of the party and the babysitter. I will be, I am the big sister and the mom. But I knew I couldn't handle no baby on my own. That's why. Dead fetus, rotting in a wholesome the little person I had torn from my body. Ah. Oh. I'm not a murderer. No. I'm a survivor. Come lay with me. Oh. Oh, man. I can't do this shit no more. I will never forget the way her weight felt in my arms. I remember she pulled out a small, shiny little slice of metal and brought it to her wrist. She held it there anxiously for a long, long while. I just held onto her as tight as I could. I didn't want her getting up and walking away from me. And I whispered to her the same thing I whispered to Jasmine that night she laid with me. I said, Sabrina, stay here with me. I can take care of you. I can hold you here forever if you let me. Just let go of this human life you live and hate and let me love you here and now. I begged her to stay with me. And she sat up. She sat up right against my chest and she pushed all of her strength into that little blade of metal as she drug it across her arm. And I knew she wanted nothing more than to be with me, to lay with me. And then a droplet of sweet, warm, red and sticky trickled onto my lips. And then the liquid life just began to pool into the cracks of my surface. So thick and warm. She covered me with a blanket of love and life, the last gift she'd ever give me. And I'll never forget how her weight felt in my arms because we laid there together all night. Her everything just resting so carelessly on my chest. And I gave her all the love I've been saving. For her, and for Sabrina, Jasmine. I felt so much bliss. The truest, purest form. That night with Sabrina. And even though her body no longer covers my chest, and her warmth no longer protects me from the chill of dawn, the liquid life she gave me lies drying beneath my thick layer of concrete, accumulating and soaking into the earth so that I may have it forever. 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 It's okay that they're both gone. That I'm alone. It's okay, because I have the memories of Jasmine's gentle caress and of Sabrina's breath hovering above me as I wait for forever to end. As I wait for the somethings to fall into the cracks of time and become nothings. I'm waiting for the human race to finish its final lap so that peace may find me here. I'm waiting here for never to begin. Until then, pass me gently and love me wholly, but only pass and leave me lonely, and duck for cover from the weeping heavens as they cry hysterically. Let the heavy tears turn to rolling streams, drown me in their fury. I am stability. I am foundation so supportive. I am grounded. Hush now. Hush now. The humans are sleeping.
they find him there. No, no, my
I took dance right up until my 10th grade year because my dad said football was more marketable for colleges, and my grades weren't good enough to go to a competitive dance school. Plus, Dad said,
George, no one likes a guy in a tutu.
my name is Georgia, and nobody wanted me to be pretty.
Remember the other day when you in town drinking, you treated all the ladies round and lighted Bobby Allen. He said it served unto the town unto his God is willing. Your master here like Dick today. It's really Bobby Allen. And slowly, slowly she got up and went unto his dwelling. He raised the curtain as she walked in. Young man, I think you are dying. Oh, yes, I'm sick and very sick. And it is all my willing. I never shall see my time again if I don't get Bobby Allen. He wheeled around and went back home. Along as he was journeying, he looked to the east and looked to the west. He saw the pasture coming. Oh, brother, brother, fix my bed and make it long and narrow. A young man died for me today, and I must die for him tomorrow. Little Billy died on Saturday night, and Bobby died on Sunday. Little Billy died on Saturday night. He was buried on
Hello, I'm Alex Boyd, and my piece is called Sophia. I interned with World Without Genocide, and my piece juxtaposes two genocides that occurred around the same time in different parts of the world. So it juxtaposes the events of World War II and the Holocaust with the cultural genocide of Aboriginal Australians, and investigates, it showcases the voice of an Aboriginal girl, and investigates why we care about which oppressions, like kind of the ones we choose to acknowledge. So.
My name is Sophia. I'm 4, and I'm from the Wiradjuri tribe in NSW, Australia. I'm going to tell you a story about today. Today, after playing with my friends outside, I went home for dinner. And there was a knock on the door. Police! We have a report of a neglected mulatto child. This white man was in our door, and I was afraid. He said he was taking me away to boarding school because I am mulatto and I don't belong out in the wild, which means on the reserve. And I don't know what mulatto means, but Mama did, because when she heard it, she got scared and sent him away. Then she watched me eat dinner, but didn't eat. I did not understand. Mama explained it to me as best she could. Sometimes, the policemen take away Wiradjuri children from their parents if the parents are black but the children are brown. I said, but Mama, we are both brown. But because you are not as brown as me, the policemen think they can make you be white, even though they can't. I still did not understand. But because Mama did not agree with the policemen, they stopped giving us our government aid. The next day there was no dinner. And the next day, and the next. All of the nice things in our house started disappearing, and soon, when taking away our government aid didn't make Mama give me away. When the lights were out, the forks were gone, and the refrigerator was empty. The man came back. He grabbed my arm, and I said, Mama! It was then that I understood that if I did not go away to boarding school, we would never get our government aid back and we would be hungry for a long time. This is a hard thing to understand when you are very small. Mama fell to her knees even though she also understood. He put me in the bed of his truck. I'm going to tell you about the day I learned how I was born. I live in Cootamundra now, which is a boarding school for brown girls whose parents gave them away. We are trained to do housework and have to act like we enjoy it. We are treated better if we are less brown. If you are less brown, they will call you half-caste, and they will not beat you as much. But if they call you half-caste, they will also get drunk and fill you up. Nobody can hear me say I am brown, though. The missionaries say there's only black and white, and that I am not black, and then they lock me in the morgue. I don't suffer a lot because I'm good. I work hard and I act right. I can read the Bible because we have religion class 7 days a week. This part explains why we must work so hard. You may purchase slaves from the foreigners who live among you. You may purchase the children of such foreigners. You may treat them as your property. You may treat your slaves like this, but your relatives, the people of Israel, must never be treated this way. I don't like that people can own other people, but I would also rather be the owner. Like I said, though, I don't suffer a lot. Today, the girl whose bed is next to mine came back from a scolding with a teacher. Her name is Riley, and we are friends. But I had nothing to say to her because there was blood dripping down her legs. She sat with her knees together as she cried and cried and cried. And then she looked at me. I'm sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I do not know what she was sorry for. I already felt dirty on the outside because there is always a big bucket. And we must use it as a toilet every night. And that bucket always sits by my bed. But I imagine she felt dirty on the inside, which is worse. I realized that the reason why I am not very proud is because somebody white made my mother feel dirty on the inside. That is why I have fuzzy memories of my mother and no memories of my father. I cleaned Riley up, but I couldn't fix it. I am 11. What could I have done? Today, I learned how I was born. And we cried, Riley and I.
Your victory. Victory of the cause of freedom. We have never seen a greater day than this. This is your victory.
Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in the dark.
I'm going to tell you about my foster family, the Stewarts. My foster family was so good to me. And then they just weren't. Every girl at Cootamundra boarding school gets sent to a foster family at age 14. I got sent to the Stewarts, who have had one other Aboriginal girl before me. They do not talk about her. But the Stewarts are nice, I swear. They have a beautiful daughter named Rachel, and Mrs. Stewart makes home-cooked meals for us all, and Mr. Stewart is just quiet and pleasant, even though he is in charge. I don't go to school, but Rachel tutors me in English because being literate will make me more valuable in the job market. I've lived here for 3 years, and they make me feel like I'm one of them. Like I don't come from savagery. Then one day, I got into a fight with Rachel. Over nothing, just things teenagers fight about. And she told Mr. Stewart. He acted calm until he came to my bedroom and slapped me across the face, and I didn't move. Which enraged him. He pinned my arms behind my back. And he got really close to me. And he pulled up my skirt. Everything had changed. Everything had changed. So I screamed, "Mama!" I tried to scream, but I couldn't. I don't even know who I was trying to scream for. But no one came to rescue me. When I told the other women of the family, there were no words. I probably should have kept it a secret. My only consolation was that I did not have to sit next to Mr. Stewart at the dinner table.
Or would you rather be a mule? A mule is an animal with long, funny
May of 1945 saw the lights go on again. Once more the nation's capital was blazing in all its glory. And in cities throughout the nation, the blackout was ended. Germany had surrendered, the war in Europe was over. There was still a war.
I've got letters. 12 letters, all from my mother. My mother. That Mrs. Stewart had been hiding from me. In a box. Under her bed. And I know there's more. But I found 12 letters. And the important part is, there are return addresses on all of them. I'm going to find my mother. I'm going to go back to the reserve I used to live on when I was little, called Wiradjuri. And I'm gonna leave all this shit behind. All these people who treat me like I'm nothing. They don't exist in Wiradjuri.
is Mariana Morgan-Sawyer, and I've been interning this summer at 180 Degrees. The show I'm going to have for you tonight is called The Block, and it's a cluster of, or it's built from a cluster of stories that, it's a production I wrote that is built from a cluster of stories that came out of conversations that I had with the young girls I've been working this summer. So, I hope you enjoy it. I love the rain, particularly because it gives me a break from the mundane assistance I provide at all hours. You know, people don't generally like being caught in the rain when it's cold and pouring out of the sky like teardrops falling from heaven, coming to cleanse me of the dirty footprints passers-by leave behind. And I love how the deep, frosty wind makes blades of grass beside me dance in the moonlight. And the stars twinkling in rhythm between swarms of dusty clouds. Nature has a terrific way of making humans deviate from themselves. But not me. I'm not human nor natural. I'm stability. I'm supportive. Foundation. I'm grounded. I have been used and abused, taken for granted, scuffed by your shoes. I'm unchanging in my fractured exterior. I'm worn and torn, never taken away or promised to stay. I'm just another set of roaming eyes in your everyday, fixed in place. I'm your path with no face. I'm your sidewalk. Every day, people pass over me, holding their problems heavy, either on their backs or on their shoulders. The worst is when you hold it and you walk.
Performers and your fellow audience members by taking a moment to turn off all pagers and cell phones. Be reminded also that the use of photographic, video, or audio equipment is strictly prohibited.
So that was a little unexpected, but a good note for all of us. Theater is live. Welcome. I am so happy to see so many of you here. My name is Sarah Bellamy. I'm the Associate Artistic Director here at Penumbra, and we are just so honored that you're here tonight to see the show. This is Clarabelle Gross, one of our and there's the rest of our team. Jeff Freeman, Lauren Miller, Chad Harris, the awesome team that has shepherded our students over the last 6 weeks. Summer Institute, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is a 3-year leadership development program. And we have 3 tracks of students. So we have a first-year track. We had almost 40 students in that class this year. They go through a 4-week program and create an ensemble piece that explores art for social change. Our second years come back for a 5-week program, and they focus in on one particular social justice issue that they're really passionate about and write a monologue about it to raise greater awareness. And then they facilitate dialogue with the audience afterwards, which we think is a really important thing about what we do here, that our artists are accountable for the work that they put on stage. And this is the first year we have our 3rd-year track, and all of our students who you'll see tonight are interning with our advocacy partners, learning how to do grassroots organizing, learning how to frame the debate around the issues they're most passionate about, and then coming here in the afternoons to build the art you're going to see. And Clarabelle's going to tell you a little bit more about that process. But we are very proud of our young people. They have worked a long time to get to this space, and we're so glad that you're here to see them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm Clarabelle Gross. I had the pleasure of working with these young people for 3+ years. Some of them have been training at Penumbra for 4 or 5 years. Tonight you're going to see the first night of our first year of ALOUD, a festival of new student works. Penumbra is a very unique program. The Summer Institute is a unique program. It creates a space for students to engage in deep thought. And we had the pleasure this year of partnering with 6 advocacy organizations. We partnered with 180 Degrees, the Advocates for Human Rights, the Emily Program Foundation, Outfront Minnesota, Ramsey County Sexual Offense Services, and World Without Genocide. We placed 9 students in paid internships. They worked for 85 hours over the course of 6 weeks. And they did their internships in the morning and then came back to Penumbra in the afternoon and worked with professional artists to synthesize what they learned to create an original performance piece that they're going to present for you tonight. So this is part of a festival. It's a 3-night festival. Tonight you'll be seeing 3 pieces. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge all of our wonderful artistic instructors. The students worked with professional artists and a professional production team to make happen what you're going to see. Cara Martinez led them through writing for the stage. Led them through a production management course. Nathan Taluki led them through design element and what I like to call life skills. Levy helped us get a space at Hamlin. Carolyn Levy, she's also a grandmother as of today. And she took them through a devised collaboration course to help them figure out what it was that they wanted to present. All the students and the team got the honor of working with Lou Bellamy, the founder and artistic director of Penumbra Theater. Those are all originally written pieces. There will be mature content. I just want to make that announcement. The students do know that they have to be accountable for the art that they make. After the performance tonight, they're going to facilitate dialogue with you. So please stay, hold your questions, ask them, have your thoughts for them, and be ready for feedback. We are taping tonight, so none of you have to tape with your iPhones. If you're parents, you don't have to tape. Don't do it. No flash photography, and just a reminder to turn off your cell phones.
I think that tonight is such a powerful example of both the legacy of Penumbra Theater. You know, this is our 37th year of continuous production here in this space. And so, yeah, thank you. Sometimes it can be challenging, but we have weathered many storms, and we continue to train the next generation of activist artists in this particular ensemble aesthetic in a way that hopefully will empower them to continue their leadership in communities both locally and nationally as they move out into the world and go to college. But this is part of giving back to our community. So just thank you so much for being here tonight. One way that you could be really helpful for us is in your playbills, you'll see that we have left a survey for you. If you could please fill that survey out honestly, with your critique, with your challenges, with your questions and concerns, that would be wonderful for us. Praise is great too, just saying. But this is how we refine the program, and it's also a powerful way that we can give feedback to the folks that invest in this program, our funders. We have amazing people that really believe a lot in the work that we do, so that would be great. And if you're so moved and feel inclined, there's also a donation envelope in your playbill. If you'd like to give us, $5, $10, $1 million, whatever you want, we'll take it. But every little bit helps. Over 60% of our students need help with tuition for this program. As we said, it's 4 to 6 weeks. They're in classes with us Monday through Friday. We feed them, we give them bus passes, wonderful opportunities. And for that, we charge a $400 tuition. And still, a lot of our students can't afford that, so we want to make sure that Summer Institute is not cost prohibitive for any student. Your donations will go straight into that scholarship program, so I just wanted to let you know that. And without, do you have anything
One
else?
more quick announcement.
Yep.
Mariana Morgan Sawyer will be performing tonight in place of James Jones, who couldn't be here.
So thank you and enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Deli Fears. I've been interning at Outfront, Minnesota, and the title of the piece that I wrote is Georgia.
Slowly, slowly she got up. my time again. If I don't get Bobby Allen, he wheeled around and went back home. Along as he was journeying, he looked to the east and looked to the west. He saw the pasture coming. Oh, mother, mother, fix my bed and make it long and narrow. A young man died for me today, and I must die for him tomorrow. Little Billy died on Saturday night.
My given name is George Xavier Holcomb.
And I'll start from my birth. My parents were trying to squeeze in one last romantic getaway before their second child, but well, that second child came sooner than expected. My older brother was 4 then and was staying up with my aunt and uncle in St. Cloud. So on the way back from oh so romantic Wyoming, my mom's water broke. My parents leave this part of the story out, but I know they both just went, oh shit. Who wants to have a kid in rural South Dakota where they don't even know if they're going to be treated well because, let's be honest, rural anywhere isn't a great place for an interracial couple to be having a baby. But it turned out fine. I was only 1 week premature, and after a weekend at the hospital,
They got to bring their new little man home. I came home to my loft on Lake Calhoun and began to settle myself in, the way a 2-year-old can.
I looked around and learned to know what I saw. I knew that I had a soft bed with creatures surrounding me in a calming color. I knew that if I blinked one eye at a person who had the same shape as Mommy, everyone would laugh and Daddy would say,
"He doesn't get the flirting from me."
I slowly began to understand myself and who I was.
And who I was supposed to be.
I don't do nobody nothing, Jesus, but it ain't me, just good story. I don't do nobody nothing, Jesus, but it ain't me, just oh, well, listen, Mom, that Christian family, that's all my heart to sing. Diana, you don't know nothing about me, oh Lord, Diana, you don't carry my name. I don't do nobody nothing, Jesus, but they hate me, just good Lord, I don't do nobody nothing.
Fast forward to my 4th year of life.
My parents had just moved to a suburban home in West Bloomington. My mom was on maternity leave after popping out a little sister, and the city apartment just wasn't right for a growing family. So, what I knew at age 4. I knew that my room was blue, and that was a cool color. I knew that I liked playing with toys and playing with my mom in the bathtub. I remember having a massive temper tantrum right before our dinner party about how I wanted to wear Mommy's bra under my polo shirt.
And how Daddy doesn't want me to be pretty.
I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. When the sun goes down. I'll be so glad when the sun goes down. When the sun goes down. Tonight all that's leave is blood. I wanna lie down. I can't see. Oh, what got the matter, baby? Yeah, I can't see. Well, I can't see. Notice starting at the driver go. It's down on me. Going down on me. Notice starting at the driver go. It's down on me.
Fast forward to my 8th year of life.
I knew that I liked girly things like skirts and makeup, but I knew no matter how much I wanted them, it was wrong. I'd gaze longingly at Jane's Cinderella dresses, but distract myself with a stupid basketball or frisbee. Finally, one day, when Jane was out with Mommy, I snuck into her room and I picked up the prettiest dress of them all. It was perfect, only it didn't slide down my body like it did on Jane's. It ripped over my broad shoulders and I broke the plastic slippers with my large square toes, and I remember sobbing and only wanting to be smaller, more delicate, and pretty. I sobbed and sobbed until my father came in and found me in a pile of tears and blue silk, and he spanked me for what felt like an hour. He just couldn't contain his disgust for his little man in a ripped dress. Daddy didn't want me to be pretty. Things were blurry, and then Mommy was there begging him to stop hitting her little boy, and only at the mention of the word boy did he stop. I think that's when I learned that my parents wouldn't love me if I tried to fit into a dress, and broke it.
And that's when I learned the next important thing in my life. Daddy and Mommy didn't want me to be pretty. Fast forward to being 9 in 4th grade.
And you overhear Amy Green talking about her first training bra on the swings while you're playing football with the rest of the boys. As her friends giggle at her description, I stopped running to hear about her. All of a sudden, the ball hits my head, and then the giggles turn into roars of laughter, and it all hurts. Embarrassed, I walk myself to the nurse's office, where the nurse clucks and purses her lips and says, "Girls never get in this kind of trouble." And that's when I learned the next important thing in my life. I didn't want to get in this kind of trouble.
Didn't want to be a boy. Later that day,
I went to my best friend Linda's house. She thought I was her boyfriend. She wanted to put me in a skirt and makeup, so I let her. Suddenly, Linda got called downstairs to help her mom make some brownies, so I was alone with myself in the dress, sparkly eyeshadow, and hair barrettes. And I looked at myself in Linda's full princess mirror, and I started to touch my body. Not in a sexual way, but more in a way that was that my chubby little awkwardly hairy 9-year-old hands pulling at the fabric, manipulating in a way that showed a waist, then hips, then a more prevalent butt. Then I reached over to Linda's pink fluffy tissue dispenser and pulled out 6 tissues and put 3 over each nipple in a ball, just the way Linda's chest looked. And I felt a sudden wave of euphoria, stronger than I'd ever felt before. I felt whole, I felt right, I felt right. I felt like myself. I was free. For 10 minutes in my 4th grade girlfriend's bedroom, I was free. But as soon as I heard Linda come up the stairs, I pulled off the dress and went downstairs to help her mom plate the brownies.
Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Lord, Lord, I know my time ain't long. Lord, Lord, I know my time ain't long. Sometimes I feel like a feather in the air. Sometimes I feel like a feather in the air. Sometimes I feel like a feather in the air. Lord, Lord, I know my time ain't long. Lord, Lord, I know my time ain't long. Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a friend. Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a friend. Sometimes I feel like I haven't got a friend. Lord,
Fast forward to being 13.
In my 7th grade year and full of angst. I knew I had anger, but I wasn't quite sure on where it came from or how to get rid of it. I tried venting it through football, per my dad's suggestion, but I found my niche in dance.
Something about contorting my body to dance music appealed to me. I felt as free as I did back in Linda's room each time I stepped into the dance room and put my clothes on.
No, no, my Lord. No more, my Lord. Lord, I'll never turn back. No more. I found Daniel may rest and play, and he have made me glad. No more, my Lord, no more. me where he